Good evening, everyone. It's Shamila Ramjawan coming to you from the Red Corner Chat in Johannesburg, South Africa. This evening, I get to chat to Cindy-Lee Minnaar, who is the co-owner of Indica Communications. And tonight, we're going to hear all about Cindy Lee and what she's been doing during COVID-19 lockdown as well. Hi, Cindy Lee, how are you?
Hi, Shamla. Fine, thank you. How are you?
Good, thanks. Thank you so much for requesting to come on the chat. I know the request came from Eshmika, and she is your partner in business. And I'm so excited to chat to you about that because I want to get to know all about what you're doing with Indica Communications. But before we go ahead, can you maybe tell the audience who you are? And and then we can take it from there.
Okay. So I'm Cindy-Lee Minnaar. I am the co-founder of Indica Communications. My business partner, Ashmika Naidu, and I started the business during COVID. What was meant to be a side hustle very quickly became my full-time gig, and it's keeping me busy from sunrise until sunset. And I still wouldn't have it any other way. I have a career in communications, which spans marketing, it spans publishing. I actually graduated as a journalist. And then I started at an IT publishing firm, writing very junior kind of releases and stuff. I quickly moved on from there to the publishing side of things, where I found myself, I would say. I didn't know that I would love publishing as much as I did, and what I really love about it most of all is that it's a system, if you want to call it that. So the whole production cycle really appealed to me, that I got to be integral in every single touch point of putting together a publication. I love that. That makes me so happy. I still actually enjoy those kinds of functions today, and in the business I perform a similar role in addition to new business development.
So talking about communications, I can see that it's a passion. I can see that coming through already. What were your career highlights? Or let's just go back a little bit. Why communications? That's what you studied. So did you come out of school and say, this is what I want to do? Or did you see a role model that influenced you into that career direction?
You know what? As a child, so I'm the youngest of 5 children. And as a child, although we were 5 kids and I was the baby, I didn't have anyone to really play with. My sister, who was just older than I am, she had very different interests, and playing with a baby sister was not one of them. And so I found myself getting lost in books often. So I loved reading. I still do. Magazines, anything I could get my hands on to read. So and I got lost in it, like I say. And as time went by, that was primary school, and then in high school I was the editor of our school magazine. And I just love that whole function. I think that perhaps maybe sparked the thing in me about what I wanted to do after school. And when I was in standard 9, standard 9, grade 11, my dad passed away in December, and it's actually 20 years this year, the 2nd of December. And my share of my inheritance. So, I come from a township in the south of Johannesburg. That's where I grew up. We weren't very wealthy at all. And so the inheritance is really not much to write home about, but it was something. It was something that was a start for me. And I decided to use mine to go and study further, and I had to be very specific about what I wanted to study. And I did a journalism course. It was initially just supposed to be a certificate, because that was what we could afford, a certificate in journalism. And then we found out, my classmates and I, that the institution, who shall not be named, was actually using fake lecturers, and we were horrified. And I was like mortified, to say the least. So I was not having it. I went into that dean's office. I'm not usually a particularly confrontational person, but this was my chance. This was my chance to make it make it in some way or the other in life. And I said to him that, you know what, this is my only chance, and I need my money back. I need to be able to get my money's worth. I need to go and study something with this money, and you've just wasted giving me fake lecturers with a fake qualification. Nobody doesn't take me seriously. And he said, well, ma'am, I'm really sorry, we can't give you your money back. But what we can do is we can extend your course, and you can go and study at a different campus. So my certificate became a diploma, and I completed my studies with distinctions at Allenby campus. And at Allenby campus, in fact, I met one of my lecturers. I think she was my creative writing lecturer, Marion Sherm. She got me my first job as an intern at that publishing company I told you about. So yeah, it's always, that's where it came from, being like almost like a lonely-ish child, although there were five of us, and passion for reading, writing, all those things, and yeah, it became my career.
That's wonderful. So you're following your dreams.
Yeah, I didn't, you know what? So I wanted to do journalism, and I wanted to do publishing, and that was the stuff that really set my heart on fire. And then when they changed it to, so after the IT publishing company, I moved on to a corporate. I thought, you know what, I'd reached the ceiling here. I want to experience more things. I want to work in a big company. I want to see what's out there for me. And so I moved on to a big corporate, and I was there for 8 years. And when what I was employed for became something else, which was public relations, I was mortified, because when I was at the IT publishing company, I was in a newsroom, and in the newsroom they often spoke about public relations as like going to the dark side. And I never wanted to be perceived as somebody who's gone to the dark side. I always wanted to be on the light side. I wanted to be full of light, and I wanted to be radiant and everything. So I resisted it for a long time. I had to assume the role, or I was going to be out of a job, but I didn't fully embrace it. And then I just decided, one day, whatever, man, you know what, this is what it is, and I'm going to embrace it, and I'm going to see what I can make of it. And it's actually been a fantastic, fulfilling kind of role, where I get to do a whole bunch of different things. And I think that's the thing that I love the most about communications, is that it's not just one thing. I suppose you really have to have the personality for it to be somebody who just works with one thing at any given moment. And I'm not that kind of person. I need diversity. I need creativity. I need carte blanche. I need all of those things. I need freedom to be happy. And I'm there now.
I think that sounds just like me as well. I get bored so easily, and you always want to touch on different things and try different things as well. So, Cindy, what would you say was or is your biggest career highlight?
My biggest career highlight has got to be starting Indica Communications. So I was always the one that was encouraging everyone to turn their passions into their own business and be their own boss. But when it came to me, when I had to do it myself, I was very reluctant. So I was scared to take the plunge, and how am I going to be a salesperson, and I have to force people to take my services, and how am I going to convince them, and I don't want to have to convince them. And I like that part about it scared me the most. But earlier this year, I very unceremoniously got kicked into it. And yeah, it wasn't very long before I viewed it as a gift, that moment, that awful, horrible moment, as a gift. And it's really just been onwards and upwards, and I've made the best of a horrible situation.
That's wonderful. And you know, a lot of people have been stressing about COVID and the lockdown pressures and all of that. And here you two dynamic women come up with your own business,
Yeah.
Elita Communications. So,
Yeah.
firstly, let's talk about the name. Okay, before we get to the name, how did the partnership form? You know, did you know each other? Are you friends? Who made the first move? You know, I think we want to encourage and inspire other people here, you know, as to how they can start. So just take me through that.
Okay, so Ashmika and I met about 3 or 4 years ago at the company we both previously worked at. It was a PR and advertising agency, and we both worked in the PR division. And Ashmika and I suppose we were just kind of drawn to each other. And it wasn't long after we met that we thought, you know what, let's start the business. I'm sure we can earn an extra income if we start our own business, and it doesn't have to be conflict of interest. So we can just do it as a side hustle. And yeah, I just went exactly nowhere because because we both had other things going on in our lives at the time, but the seed was planted. And fast forward 4 years, um, Ashmika and I again were working together for another company, and we decided, you know what, because now it's COVID and everybody's incomes are compromising, or most people's incomes are compromised in one way or another, and we said, why don't we try this thing again? Why don't we see if we can earn extra money again with starting a business? But this time we're going to do it proper. We're going to reserve social media handles. We'll register a company and do a website, and then we'll just see. I mean, you know, because we at that time we still didn't kind of have defined roles in the business. So how we were gonna find clients and whatever there wasn't a proper strategy in place. But there's no perfect time, and there's no perfect way in what I've now come to experience. There's no perfect way to approach it, and the best way I would say is really just to, okay, now I was unceremoniously kicked into it, and you don't have to be, people out there don't have to be kicked into it in order to dabble in it. But just do it. Just start somewhere. Just, I don't know, create a minimal viable product. Is that what they call it? Do that. Put it out there. Test it with the market. Get the feedback. Refine your thing, whether it's a product or whether it's a service. But just start. It doesn't have to be perfect, because there is no such thing as perfect. And you'll get better and better at what you're offering the more you do it. So just do it. That's my advice. If I had to wait until there was a perfect time when I felt equipped and I felt everything was in line, and now I feel like I was never gonna get there. I can tell you now. I'm also just way too much of a perfectionist, or perhaps I was controlled by my fears, you know. And I think that's also true for most people. Is that it's scary. It's scary. Oh my goodness, how am I gonna earn my salary? But I feel I'm even gonna go as far as saying a salary is a trap. It's a trap to just keep you there. It's there to keep you stunted. I don't feel like, I know, okay, maybe not everybody was made to be an entrepreneur, but everybody can think like an entrepreneur, even if they an employee. And that when you think that way, when you approach your work that way, whether you're self-employed or an employee, you just show up differently and more authentically. And when you do that, I feel like your future's in your hands, and that you can actually create it with, as opposed to just kind of becoming complacent in what you're given.
Yes, I so agree with you there. You know, fight your fears and take the risks. It's something that I did when I started my business a few years ago. I had to sell my beautiful convertible because, you know, I want to start this business and I needed funding. So yes, you got to take those risks and you got to make compromises as well.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you know, entrepreneurs work 10 times harder because you don't get a fixed salary at the end of the month. You got to work really hard to get payment. And you've got to fight for contracts, and you've got to do all the sales talk. I mean, me coming from a marketing communications background as well, I found that, in the years that I worked in corporate, I really declined a lot of sales jobs because I felt that I wasn't a good salesperson. But now, since you become an entrepreneur, you're going to sell your products and your services.
I know. And you know what I've learned about myself is I'm not half bad. I'm not half bad. All you really need to do is believe in what you're talking about. And I do. I 100% believe that what I'm talking about is the value that I bring. It's the value that I can offer. It's what I can deliver on. It's not even, I don't even have to, it's not just like a sales pitch and then I'm hoping for the best afterwards. And I absolutely know that what I'm offering is what I can deliver on.
Yes, and always believe in yourself and believe in your product or your service, because at the end of the day, it's yours. You now want to sell it. Be proud of it as well. And it's like going on a stage. You get so nervous, especially if you're really young and you didn't get the exposure of going and speaking on a stage or some platform where you really nervous before a presentation. And at the back of your mind, you must always say, "This is my content. I own it." And I'm going to deliver it to the best of my ability because it's mine. And if you have that mindset, then most of your worries are gone. Just go and deliver. So it's the same with business. You own your product or your service. Here now you have to get clients on board. You go out there and you talk about your proud product or your amazing product and all the benefits and what you can do to offer them, the services, etc., etc. So we can go on and on talking about just selling your brand. But I'm really interested to know about your new brand that started just a few months now. So you started this during lockdown, you said.
Yes, we started Indica Communications during lockdown, and Shamika and I have a wide array of skills and expertise, and we particularly wanted to target small businesses. We feel like we both agree actually that small businesses need the communications component the most, and more often than not they can't afford it. And so now there's that gap, and we've decided to be the bridge from because you know what it is. So let me finish that thought. To be the bridge from just having this product or having this service to actually getting it known and getting it out there, and in a way attracting customers, using communications to attract customers. And if you think about any kind of relationship, communication is really the thing that connects people to your company, to your brand, to you, whether it's between you and your children, you and your spouse or partner, or you and your community. It's usually the communication, and communication takes on so many different forms. Sometimes it's in the clothes that we wear, sometimes it's in the slang that we speak to each other, sometimes it's in the music that so communication is really so diverse. And so Ashmika and I have these broad range of skills and expertise and networks, like of service providers who basically there's not a thing in communications that we can't do to bring people together to absolutely elevate a message of any kind of business. And if I can tell you, like it's been a very interesting journey on the kinds of customers who we've assisted so far. And some of them are retainers and some of them are projects, and that's just how it goes. But because we are so diverse, we've been able to offer public relations and social media and graphic design and events management and a small business. If you think about how the government is always prioritizing small business, it's because they play such an important role in the economy, and we want to see them thrive. We want to see them prosper, and we want to use what we've got, the skills and expertise that we've got, to enable that. Because when you help a small business small business thrive, it's not just helping that one person. That one person usually has a whole community of people that they're helping too, and so the ripple effect for us is important, and so that's how come we've decided to start our business focusing on that target market.
That's wonderful. So tell me, Cindy-Lee, how do you advertise your business?
So because we are predominantly our experience predominantly lies in public relations, we've used various forms of public relations to market our business, and we use social media. We do interviews, and this for us is public relations. This for us is getting our brand known, reaching out to people who have credibility and who are willing to have a conversation with us for us to tell our story. And I think that, another thing that way in which we've been able to market our business is through our existing networks of people that we know throughout our careers. I, in particular, have been able to reach out to a number of different people, like from different industries, in-store advertising guy, a lady from corporate. So it's just like a wide range, and the word of mouth has helped us a lot as well.
And your success rate, so when did you launch? Did you launch in March or April?
We launched in, so I think it was May, actually. I think it was May that we launched in, and we didn't have a proper client for a long time. But I think it's because we weren't really focused and committed, and we were determined this time to make a success of it. The unceremonious kicking into entrepreneurship is what helped us the most, because when that happened, I had to sit back and think, okay, what are the services that we've got to offer, and who could I potentially reach out to that are in positions that could make use of our services. And one thing's led to another, and now our success rate is that we hardly have a bad meeting. We hardly have a bad, you know what I mean? Like we whoever we pitch to, it usually goes really well, even if it's not immediate. It's something that's like a long-term plan. So like, let's say there's a gentleman who I met from a company called Nail and Screw, and he does home improvements, and we actually going to start his communications and in the beginning of the new year. So although the meetings have not gone badly at all, some projects are only like going to kick off in the new year, depending on various components.
That's great. I wish you best of luck. I own a marketing company, so I know the challenges. So I know exactly what you're going through, but remember, it's all baby steps when you start, and then it just suddenly picks up. So you just got to work really hard and smart. And use of the social media platforms that are free, because you can advertise, and there's so many groups now on Facebook, for example, that you can latch onto and advertise your products. From time to time, I also give people the opportunity to advertise on my page as well, where I just open it up for small business, because that's what we want to do. We want to help others grow. And that was one of the reasons for creating this platform as well, is for people like you to come on board and market yourself, because you never know who's going to be watching and going to contact you to help them with it. Because not everybody is an expert, for example, on social media, especially when it comes to business social media. And they need people like you to latch on to grow their brand and to get the messaging out there, and the correct messaging as well.
Yes, and you know how it is with one-man bands. You have to do everything yourself. And because communications is that one component that you don't want to compromise, you don't want to mess up your connection with your target audience or your existing customer base. You don't want to mess it up. So go do everything else, but don't mess up your communications. And here we are, and we can help you, and it doesn't have to cost you an arm and a leg, and we can work out a plan. And I found the most successful strategy in business for me so far has been to give. So when you give, that generosity of spirit almost always finds its way back to you multifold.
I
So
simply
thank you.
love that. I just love that. And that's exactly what I do. I just believe in that. The more you give, the more you get. When you do give something, don't expect anything in return, because
100%.
yes, you definitely will get more than what you give. And yes, I totally agree. But when it comes to business, be careful on how much you give as well.
Okay, thank you for that. I know, so we're still learning, although we're fantastic at what we do. When it comes to business, we're definitely still learning, and so we appreciate feedback like that. And it's true, actually. If I think about it, you can, all the giving can consume so much of your time that you don't have much time left to actually earn a proper living, or to earn enough to sustain yourself. But it's okay, it all works out in the end, it all levels out, and I don't regret it. And thank you so much for having us on your platform. We really appreciate it. It was like a shot in the dark, but we were like, man, if we can get this opportunity, wow, I am sure it's gonna do. Just because also what you explained to me now of the reason why you doing this, it makes sense now. It makes sense why we were almost desperate to have a conversation with you about our business. So thank you very much for having us.
It's only a pleasure. I just believe in promoting other people and giving them the strength as well, because I know what I went through when I launched my business. Also, one man show, the humble beginning story where you have to sell certain things to get what you want for the business, and working from home in a dark little corner. Yes, we all have stories to tell, and one day you're going to be sitting so proud and you're going to say, I achieved that, and I achieved that on my own strength.
Yeah. I mean, it'll really have been a community effort with people like you. Although you're not sitting here next to me, or you don't live around the corner from me, we are a community still. And you're the way that you help me, I'll be able to pay it forward. Without a doubt, I believe that.
For sure, for sure. As you grow, yes, and I wish you every success in your growth. I know it's going to happen because I can see the passion that you have for communications. So, Cindy-Lee, okay, you and Ashmika Naidu launched this company during the lockdown. How did you keep sane during that? Because I know it's now, we're into this hard COVID-19 lockdown. You started a business. I know the stress levels could have just multiplied. What did you do to just keep sane and just keep going and get, mentally stimulated?
So what I do, and it's almost like soul food for me to do this. I need to go hiking once a week. I need to go out into nature. I need to hear the sound of the rocks under my feet. I need to feel the breeze on my skin and feel the sun on my head. And I need to breathe in the fresh air and hear the birds. I need that. That's like a soulful experience for me, and it rejuvenates me every time. It gets me energized every time. And it lasts me quite a while, and it's healing in a way. It kind of puts a whole bunch of things into perspective about the circle of life and the way things work, and it's an ecosystem, and things will ebb and flow, and sometimes it'll be high and sometimes it'll be low, and sometimes it'll be tougher and sometimes it'll be easier. But if you keep on, if you just keep going, just keep putting one foot in front of the other, that eventually you'll get there. And in fact, when I go hiking, I always tell people this who go hiking with me, like for the first few times, to enjoy every step of the process. Don't focus on the outcome. Don't focus on the end and when are we going to end and when is it finished, and I'm tired and I'm this and that. Okay, sure, you might feel tired, or you're going to get thirsty, you're going to get hungry, or whatever the case may be. But just enjoy every step of the process. And what ends up happening is that when the end arrives, you're almost like, I could do this again. I could go another round, like as in immediately. I can just, do this again. So for me, that's how I've kept sane and energized. And also what I did not so long ago is I started a ladies indoor soccer team. And I went one evening with a friend of mine when he was playing indoor soccer, and it was very interesting to me to watch how men go in for the tackle, how they communicate with each other on the field, how they take a goal, how they decide who does what, who's the captain. You can almost immediately see who the leaders are, who the strong ones are, what your strength is, and how to play to those strengths. And for me, there were a lot of parallels in business to business in just observing that soccer match. And I thought to myself, you know what? I'm not a particularly sporty person, but I'm curious about this. I'm curious about the psychology behind sports and how it relates to business. And I thought, well, because I'm not particularly sporty, I want to explore this with people who are equally as unfit as I am. And yes, we were quite unfit to begin with, but as the weeks roll on, we actually becoming more and more fit, more and more equipped. And my role, I'm not the striker, I've learned, and that's okay, although it felt like, it's a failure the first few times, because you want to be the goal scorer, you want to be the one people cheer for, and you want to be the superstar. It's also important to be a defender. It's also important to be a goalie. It's also important to be a midfielder. Every role has its value. And so the soccer has helped me also a lot, and it's been so fun. It's been, I didn't know. I was like, why didn't you guys tell me soccer was so fun for a long time ago? But I wasn't having it then when they were telling me. I had to get there on my own, and it's a very different experience for me now. And the women who I play with, and it's a broad range of age range that we play with. Is like 15-year-olds that we play with, and 40-something-year-olds in the same team, and it's like a one big fun time. We do a lot of laughing, a lot of miskicking, a lot of falling on our butts, and everybody's having fun. So those are like the two main things that I kind of did to keep sane.
That must be so exciting, because I played soccer for the first time last year in Swellendam when we were shooting the reality TV show Thrivers. And I had so much of fun, but I had, I think, 2 or 3 goals that went right through my legs because I was the goalkeeper. It was so embarrassing, but it was just all in fun, and we just laughed it off, but it was such a nice experience. But talking about indoor soccer, it makes me think of indoor cricket. And for some odd reason, when you play an indoor sport, you tend to work your muscles even more. I'm not sure if you felt that as well. Because when I played indoor cricket, I couldn't walk the next day.
You know what? Like I said, I'm not particularly sporty. So before the soccer, I was just doing the walking, the hiking, and that's not as strenuous as you would think. Like, I'm not busy climbing mountains or anything. I'm just literally hiking, and sometimes it's elevated and sometimes it's downhill. So I don't have anything really to compare to. I know I feel very tired afterwards, and I know I'm very sweaty afterwards, but I can't compare to like an off-field or an outdoor sports. I'm just not sporty.
So, Cindy-Lee, where to from here? What's the plan for your company with Ishmika? I'm sure you have some growth strategies in place. So what's the next move?
Well, the truth is that because I keep going back to this, but it's been fantastic. I don't know if it sounds like I'm complaining about it. I'm really not. But because I have been unceremoniously kicked into this situation, there wasn't really a strategy to begin with. Okay, so I think that, and then ever since then, we actually haven't really had much downtime to strategize about what's next and where to find how exactly we're gonna achieve what we'd like to achieve. We actually have some time scheduled in the next 2 weeks to pin that down, so that we, during our downtime, we can, when our minds are a little bit more free, although I don't know about downtime as an entrepreneur. We'll see. Then during our downtime, we'll plan about, we have some ideas. It's like it's all over the show, but I love that. I love that it's all over the show. I love that literally there's nothing that we can't do. Whether we want to lecture at the learning institution, or whether it's freelance writing for magazines, or whether it's approaching international companies to see how we can help them, because as a Black female owned business, we have great value, and over and above that, we have really expert skills. So as because of that, there's in South Africa, we have the BE charter, which helps people like us to help others to become compliant, and so that might also be in the bag. Nothing fixed, nothing documented, to say this is the way forward. And I don't know about you. You also said earlier that somebody who gets bored easily. If you have a fixed strategy, what are the chances that you'll actually stick to it? I like that flexibility. I like that, the freedom to kind of, for it to be a dynamic approach, and whatever comes, not to say, well, sorry, that doesn't fit in my strategy, I'm not going to do that right now. I just want to, yes. We know at the moment we're kind of exploring all sorts of things, so we haven't pinned it down yet, if I'm honest with you.
It has to be flexible. I always believe that you have to have a plan in place. So my planning usually takes place in December, where I plan for the following year. I try to do that, and I create my intentions list and all of that. But I must say, with the amount of stuff that I do, and if opportunities come by, I grab it. Or if I think about different things, there's change. There's always change to your strategy that you created at the beginning of the year. So yes, so it has to be quite flexible, and but you've got to have the groundwork done. You've got to have some direction as to where you're going in terms of goals. You can always move the goalposts, but you've got to have something concrete to work towards or to work on. So yeah, I would suggest maybe get down to brainstorming and getting ideas together as to how you want to grow the business, and put all of that together, and you can always change as you go along.
Okay, thank you. I've made a note.
And I'm so impressed with what you and Ashmika have done, coming up with your own business, especially during lockdown.
Thank you.
Your last words to people out there, they want to start a business. You've been through the challenges. You're still trying to find your feet in terms of getting your clients. What would you say would be the best advice to somebody out there that's wanting to start a business?
Really, my best advice is two things. First thing is, don't waste your time doing things you don't enjoy. Don't waste your time doing things that you don't enjoy. So maybe the first thing you do is jot down a bunch of things that you absolutely enjoy doing, that you would be willing to do for free, and then see if you can put a price to that. And then just do it. Just start a Facebook page, invite all your friends, put your product together or your service. It doesn't have to be anything super fantastic. If you can play a little bit around in PowerPoint, create yourself a little flyer, put a price there, try and get a logo. It doesn't matter. Just start as you go along. That will be your first flyer. Next month, your flyer will have a logo on. The following month, you'll have a proper email address to go with it too. If you don't have an email address yet. There's certain basics that you probably should have in place up front, and there's ways of doing it that doesn't have to cost you too much, like setting up a website, for example. There's many different ways, suppliers these days that can help you put one together, even if it's like a really basic one, but still it's somewhere, it's a presence on the internet for people to find you. We work with a partner who is so quick and creative and cost efficient. Also, they are as passionate about putting small businesses on the map as we are. So they really competitive. The price tech support with is the name of the company. And so don't do what you don't love, and just do it. Just do it. Just do something. Just start and you'll grow from there. That's my parting words of wisdom.
Yes, I love that. And also, you know, believe in the power of now. Because if you put your mind to something and you want to do it, don't procrastinate. Just get down to it and do it now.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
I love that. Wise words. Cindy-Lee, if one wants to get hold of you, how do they contact you and where?
So we've got a website, and it's www.indicacoms, C-O-M-M-S, actually INDIKACOMMS.co.za. That's our website. Or they can find us on social media. We're quite active on social media, so they'll find either Ash or I there at any given moment, at any time. And it's also at Indicacoms, that's Facebook, and LinkedIn, that's where we are.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on board and chatting to me on the Red Corner Chat. I wish you everything of the best. I'm going to follow your journey and see how this all evolves into something so big. So best of luck with that. And I'm sure you're going to make a success of it.
Thank you so much. We're also very curious about how we can't wait. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Cindy-Lee. Thank you for the chat, and we will be chatting soon. Take care. Bye.
Bye, everybody.